ekenekwa m unu. Ihe ọzọ anyị ga-eme kịta bụ onye ode akwụkwọ ADF ga-agwa anyị okwu nke okwu. Ọzọ Prọfesọ Nat Alaigbo, ịdị n'Igbo dị n'oyibo, ịmakwa mma nwoke daalụrị nne.
Chinekwu mma nwoke na-agba, biko kọwara na ya aka.
My great commander, Igwe Obigwe, Your Excellency the Ambassador, let me stand on the protocols earlier established. Igbo kwenu, n'Igbo kwenu, n'Igbo kwezuonu. Ashina ezukwe ke aha eri udele. Atọtụ ngịga.
Ọkọọdị.
Oluo na omume. Ozi ezuru m kịta mbụ kọwatara unu ihe bụ ADF. N'okwu ndị ọcha, kedu the profile, deliver the profile of ADF to you. Prof agwago unu otu anyị si were mee the international colloquium. Ka emechara that international colloquium, one of our brothers who met that time hosted us to a dinner in his house. Professor Barton mentioned. It was in his house that this colloquium should not be a touch and go thing, that a formal body should be incorporated. That conference, which was the Igbo question in Nigeria, before, during, and after the Biafra War. So ADF is duly incorporated with Corporate Affairs Commission. Our objectives are not complicated. To promote Igbo culture and civilization. Ihe ọbụla gbasakwara ndị Igbo, otu anyị si ebu, otu anyị si anọkọ, ka anyị si eme ihe dị iche n'iche, otu anyị ndị agbata obi anyị si anọ, bụ ihe ADF set up as our objective. Oge emechara colloquium ahụ, abịa kpọkọta ihe niile all the speeches that were given were compiled in a book. It was edited and published in 2 volumes, which we called The Igbo Nation, History and the Challenges of Rebirth and Development. In fact, the copies of the books are there. When you look at it, you will see discussions on Mandi Igbo Israel, Krabundimbo, all those discussions were taken on there. Because of people like Zik and co emerged and continued till a World Civil War. Major Civil War, where Mozai Ghana to the extent now that even our language, we're losing it. Our names, we're losing it. You know somebody, she have Jonathan Ezekiel. Oh yeah, or she Muchu. Umuchu na Ezekiel. Oh, where do you have it? I am. Okay, that is Mamaka. Oh, what now they have. So, I am a board of trustees bundle the custodians of ADF properties. We have a structure of operation. We have the working committee that has the president, the vice president, the secretary, and they have the Josie. Then I went to the ADF council. Council book, the main organ that decide on policies. You have to check out so I already have been ọtụtụ oge unu ga na-anụ na ADF na ọdụkwa ka ha na-achọ ịsọplant ọhaneze ma ọ na ha na-asọ ụtọ ọhaneze ka ọzọ biko put me anywhere. That is very far from the truth. Unalie na-ekwu uweghị ha anyị na ọhaneze na-azọ nwa na nna ya ka agba mgba ọgba ji m nna ji unu anaghị agba mgba oge anyị chọrọ ime kulokwu oge anyị bidoro ihe ADF a we wrote formally to ọhaneze and we used to have all of our meetings in the Ohaneze Secretariat. Sometimes the then president of Ohaneze, Gary Iwe, and Joe would join us. We gave a letter to all branches of Ohaneze. Where she had an ADF, na join me with the head of Tua. And had they gone to Ikike, Nimo be Ohaneze. So no Ohaneze, na was Hanine, you were going to support again. That is how we have always operated. Because even if we don't have in different forms. Obiapa, ujide one. Sulu no we what we have was Haneze Nanzo. Unanara my BG Haneze. Owe he had no Haneze Nanzo. In fact, we are very loyal. We want Ohaneze to look beautiful. Because Ohaneze speaks for Ndibo. Okay? The way I should operate, mainly through committees. And when too many people marry in the fold of ADF. So I should take me home. I join I achọghị aka siri ike usoro eji eme ha mee chairman set up committee afọ ejewezu. So oge ọmụ agwago unu kịta about different aspects of our program. Oge ekwutere maka ndị be anyị ife outside je ruo Igbo ịbịakwabe in another hotel. We set up a committee on business development, investment and development, which is headed by our brother Mazi Samu Huabunwa, a very astute businessman. That is, it was his committee that set up the Akuruno program. This was in 2015 or so. 2016. Yes, 2015 was when we started the idea. And we believe, okay, Kita, even from state governments and from different organizations, it is wonderful, the more the merrier. But we like the feeling that na I will a committee on census. Makana census will be one of the places I need to know. All the candy one are sharing cash. The other groups are not buying. Oh, Gaga, go on, apart from the fact that I shrink, and we also arithmetic well of that. So I will set up a committee headed by our former Vice Chancellor of the Imo State University, a former National President of ASU, when the Maruka Asiano with government, Professor Ukachukwu Awuzie, I am Chairman Committee on NEBA. I will Committee on Enlightenment and Education. I will Committee on Culture and Igbo Language. I will Committee on the anti-grazing situation I don't need to where across the board. That is how we operate. A lot of them, of our committees, have yielded good results. I will what we call the ADF Trust Fund. Makobo kandi Igbo na-ego si eje. Ha ji ego, mana ihe na-ebukarịcha ha mmụọ bụ ha wupụta ego, ọ dị ha ka iwere ewere n'ihe na-eso na-ezighị ezi, ọ na-ebute ha too much. So we set up a trust fund. Ego ọbụla apụtara, because we survive through goodwill donation, ọ bụghị na sponsor. Ego ọbụla enyere anyị, etinye na trust fund. Our trust fund is managed by people we think that in your eyes are credible. Our trust fund committee is chaired by Archbishop Emeritus of the Anglican Communion, Archbishop Maxwell and Ikwenwa. I am chairman of our trust fund. Igwe Ambassador Agobozo, who is the chairman of the Enugu State Traditional Council of Chiefs, is a member there, and other notable persons. You can take it to the bank. They are the ones who manage it. And whatever monies that are there, when we need it to do anything, we do an application to them. And if they approve, they will release to us. We prosecute the project and we render accounts to them. We have a committee on self-reliance and self-determination, headed by a veteran in that subject. Abalanza, our brother, Oba Emeka Onyeso. We have interfaced with different groups. Our brother Tony Nadi is there, Lower Niger Congress. We see eye to eye because he had a chop at the hunting. And we have realized that we have passed the level where ego will be robbing us of what we do. After the, when the situation with IPOB ensued, we felt that the IPOB with a very important role to play in the life of Alaigbo, but was not doing it the proper way. So instead of for condemning them, we engaged them. And we started very serious discussions to moderate and modulate what they were doing. In fact, we had gotten to the point, like election, we got to the point where they had agreed with us that that position was not tenable, and we were going to jointly do a press conference where they would recant and submit to the intellectual guidance of ADF. You'll notice that I don't say Nnamdi Kanu, I say IPOB. Because IPOB is not Nnamdi Kanu. And we're a team, and we're dealing with that. Unfortunately, the date we fixed for the press conference where this announcement was going to happen was preempted by the Python dance. 2 days before that date, Python dance started. Even on the first night when they moved in, we still spoke to the young man. I say, well, maybe we should just wait. And that is how we kept it till now. O nwere ihe a na-akpọ ọgazi a na-arụ onye eke n'akụkụ be anyị. Ọgazi a na-arụ onye eke bụ ọgazi a na-arụ eke niile. Whatever is denied to any one of us is denied to ndị Igbo. Don't feel na o metụtaghị gị. Maka ọ ga-emechakwa o metụta gị. Some of us are so apathetic. It is frightening. I was just telling them yesterday of an incident that I had. I was being interviewed on TV by Channels TV. And somebody was suggesting to me, look, Prof, after 50 Guinea years, you people still have not forgotten about the Civil War. You see, I know we have forgotten. But I would like you to go to the University of Benin. When you go there, go to the health center. Ask for a young man called Dr. Oboagu. Dr. Oboagu has no mother, no father, no brother, no sister, no uncle, no auntie, has no place he comes from. Because his family was decimated during the war. He was a baby. Somehow he survived. And then you're asking the young man to forget. Forget what? That he has no known relative? That no na Christmas or when happened to Onya akala oge eji bịa Python dance. Ha kiricha ya. Si ebe a na-eme ụdị ha ebe ọzọ na n'obi. And so we took the government of Nigeria to court. The appropriate persons were sued and were sued with the case. It was just recently disposed of. We had to serve notice to the dramatist personnel, chief of army staff, all those things, by publication in the newspapers, because you couldn't reach them to serve notices. Even though the government did not put up any appearance, the trial judge in Enugu here, chief from Kano State, granted the case to government. Never knew behind the Kumake. Behind the Kumake. All Parliament may die. Among Gengako, Hapone, Mana, part of what has brought us now is that I know just your mind. Look, which way forward? Must we continue pretending that it's all right? Or do we need to tell ourselves the truth and say something? That is part of why we are here. What is the future for Igbo? What is the future for Nigeria? ADF is open to every sons and daughters of Igbo land. We have in our membership members of the clergy, very notable ones. We have our bishop here, Alaigbo, who is the chairman of the local organizing committee for this event. Bishop Chukwuma of the Anglican Communion. Bishop Ede of the Methodist Communion, Archbishop Obinna of the Catholic, they are all members of the state. Then you have the traditional institutions, they are all represented here. Otegai Nomubidem. Igwagobozo is a member of our Trust Fund Management Board. Igwe Rav, in fact, even Abogi Ubi of Onisha is one of our spiritual fathers. All we are saying, Bo Kanyeji Kwaka. Anya Magere Milia to Mama you. No, Kamaka, because thank you very
much. Uche, okwu ga-amaka ekene ka nge jide ka ichi jidesi ụmụnne anyị ndị ikwere anyị ike otu aka si na-agbanarị anyị in the past ọ dịghị Igbo mma ọ na-agba anya mmiri. If you recall, I met you for the first time in my house in Washington in Arafo Wasikebia, maybe in 1998 or 99. Yes, Mumbia Mepe Mbasi. I gave you a small party and a lot of moral support. So you are from the trenches. Your commitment to this cause is never in doubt as far as I'm concerned. Ngabia from the angle of the law more than the politics of it. And when you hear the MC pool, is your man, I went something I call Article 59 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, or forbidding publication, or the way as it here, that the decisions of the Commission shall remain confidential until the Assembly of Heads of State says otherwise. So the decision was handed on March 8 this year. I'm forbidding to go into details, but I'll give you a bit of the kernel of the decision. At issue before the Commission, the legality of the action taken by the Nigerian government in September last year in proscribing IPOB and the sustenance of that action by Justice Kafarati in February this year, pursuant to a motion to vacate. Onye na good news gama na federal government through the Attorney General approached the Federal High Court to declare IPOB a terrorist organization standing on an ex parte application. Onye na-awụ lawyer mana onye anọghị nso anaghị amụ ya ikpe. Lawyers na-akpị ọdị ọtịrị pattern ikpe anaghị ebi n'olu ofu onye. Mana nke a ebiri n'olu ofu onye n'olu federal government dịka ihe ha file on record. So based on otu o si wee gaa, we decided na anyị ga-arị approach the court ka akọwatụrụ ha na ihe a dị very serious and perhaps IPOB should have been put on notice. But they magono ụdị Nigeria nọ na ya kịta ihe ga akụrụ si wee gaa the acting chief judge Joe. So I single-handedly took the matter before the African Commission on Human and People's Rights and Joe, the Gambia. One, the proscription and declaring IPOB a terrorist organization. Then the second one will say determination. The greatest argument a levy against self-determination. Referendum bukwa, a garden variety expression of self-determination, and so on and so forth. The greatest argument is quite simplistic, but it seems to win the day. That self-determination is unconstitutional. Not because the Constitution declared it so, but because it was not recognized by the Constitution through any express provision for it. Okay, fine, well and good. But what about the other laws of Federation of Nigeria? Or no legal argument, and a political argument in support of self-determination. And when any law that was promulgated by the British, upon which the referendum that exercised part of Cameroon from Nigeria was conducted, was a political arrangement. There is no particular section in the 1960 or 59, 60 or 63 Constitution that guaranteed the creation of Midwest region. But it was done through a plebiscite. Plebiscite, or a word of art for referendum. Anyways, putting the political justification for self-determination aside and the historical precedents Mmadueke cite, Alaigbo, Alaigbo, and when legal justification for it in Nigeria, all they recognized. Prior to perhaps 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, much of the citation any proponent of self-determination make with African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Then they go on to the UN Charter. Then they go on to other protocols like ECOWAS, treaty obligations. Fine. That argument easily can also be shut down. Because under Section 12 of Nigerian Constitution, Nigeria does not have to implement any treaty if it doesn't want to. It is true that the National Assembly can ratify a treaty, but the government can say, well, we are not going to implement this treaty because it's against the laws of Federation of Nigeria. But guess what? There is one particular treaty that is no longer a treaty in Nigeria. And when a total misconception, because that African Charter on Human and People's Rights, as far as that charter or provisions thereof applies in Nigeria or brought a treaty or law, what part of the laws of Federation of Nigeria, enacted by National Assembly, ratified. It's not a treaty. So this argument, now before the Federal High Court in Abuja now, it is a new argument, and based on that, I have filed a flurry of motions and applications to dismiss all the pending charges against IPOB members in the particular Nigerian court. Because Section 20 of that law, I can paraphrase it for you, say that all people shall have the unhindered right to self-determination. Section 20 of Nigerian law said that any lawyer here can check it out. A non-lawyer can also, pursuant to very good research, can also check it out. Then Section 1 makes it binding on the Nigerian state not to disturb that right to self-determination. So, as interpreted by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, these two sections were part of laws of the Federation of Nigeria, even though they were counterpart sections, now the charter that binds all of Africa. And of course, in counterpart sections like the UN Charter that binds the rest of the world. So don't allow anybody to tell you that the recognition of the right of self-determination in the African Charter and UN Charter were mere force of customary international law. In other words, now they use those sections to persuade nations to let my people go, but you cannot enforce. We, as Nigerians, we have a section that backs us up. So the Commission addressed a letter directly to the President of Nigeria. On the length, 6 pages, they pointed out a whole lot of violations and gave him 15 days to do certain things. One of them being to end what I believe and I characterize as persecution, not prosecution. As we speak, I'm waiting for a response from the Commission as to what the President might have done to call his troops home. Because if the right thing is done, he's supposed to issue directives to the Attorney General to cease and desist from further prosecution of IPOB members or anybody that as much says he believes in IPOB. Then the final point I will make is this. To the young people here, I believe in that. As we speak, 2 weeks ago, 3 youth, not the lazy type according to our president, hard-working youths of Igbo land, they arrested na Newi because Haji flag, Biafra, Hagara, Uluakwa, Alaigbo na Alota, Ure flag of Biafra, Amba, na Aguegu na Alona, Akosamba. I may have cost, based on tip-off. So had dispersed her HD 3, charged her before the Federal High Court, Norca. So luckily, I'm on my round. So I entered appearance. I named the charge sheet. Gave her arraignment. Yaya case, 30th of this month. In here, the idea that now, HD in possession of IPOB flag. Therefore, I have a member of a proscribed organization under the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011. Fine. So, I asked for the proof of evidence, and I got it. In fact, I went with the Commissioner of Police. He was kind enough, Mr. Omar, he goes him, phone here, video. A video flag and the Biafra, or flag and the IPOB. Yes, and when he had it check. So on 30th, the case might be dismissed, and this is going to be the argument for the young people now. Biafra is not a proscribed organization. IPOB is a proscribed organization. So, Kaiwelu Akonuche Naka. HR, you engage Nigeria. You engage Nigeria on that platform for now. The judge is agreeing with us. Flag Biafra Kahaji or IPOB. The order from the federal court declared it targeted an organization. And even that prescription itself is a matter before the Court of Appeal. We have filed a motion to stay the execution of that order. But we're not depending on that because sometimes if you wait for the judiciary, it might be too late for you. So the advisory there, anybody that is saying anything can say it under the umbrella of Biafra. I'm addressing the few IPOB members that are here, because I'm sure you are here, don't be caught pants down with IPOB flag, but you can carry Biafran flag, you can wear the armband or nothing. It was never the organization that was proscribed. So, because on them, ADF,
Ibo no ne taro kwa jeze ibo je ma bu ko ma buri ba no to we kare ka se kana ma ko ne taro kwa to di ba na ba bu ma ka no ni ke mu ro ni ko ba ka o ya wa ko ma ma no ni ke kan to ke na ya to ko mo na le ko kan na ta ba ko na le ke na we me ya di ko na ta
Idalo no unana bagola na gwala nye isiokwu ga-emezi na bola. Our very distinguished chairman of this occasion, His Excellency Ebichukiwe Omu of Anyoma, His Royal Majesty, ambassadors, our very revered President of ADF, Mama ADF, all the very distinguished members of ADF, our guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to speak in English so that I can hasten my presentation. You can see the Omo has gotten up twice and sat down. Every nation has been developed by its people. Even nations that have been conquered and its people dispersed were rebuilt by their people. The city of Jerusalem in the times of Nehemiah was rebuilt by the people of Judah who were in exile. Until 1945, the modern state of Israel was non-existent in the world map. But it took the combined efforts of the Jews in diaspora to build the modern state and work to get it granted the status of an independent state by the United Nations in 1948. Since then, Israel has dwelt among difficult and mostly enemy nations, some like Iran that will wish that it be wiped out from the face of the earth. Yet, Israel has won all the wars and remained the most formidable and prosperous nation. All these have happened because of the patriotic determination of its peoples in the diaspora. When you look closely at Alaigbo, our gates got bombed and our walls got broken during the Nigeria-Biafra war. And ever since, we have largely been waiting for those who glibly said, no victor, no vanquished, to come and repair our gates and rebuild our walls. We have seen that it has not happened because, as time has shown, they were not sincere with that declaration. It was essentially a statement made in euphoria of the unexpected surrender of Biafra. That statement could have only been as true as the recent one. I belong to nobody. I belong to everybody. But we will now know he belongs to the Fulani herdsmen. The consequences of thinking that somebody will rebuild and develop Alaigbo for us, while we concentrated in developing other lands, as Omo very rightly presented, and places within Nigeria and outside, stare us on the face. Dilapidated infrastructure, squalor, unemployment, poverty, armed robbery, kidnapping, 419, and prostitution. Now, as if that was not bad enough, Ndibo have become the butt of good jokes in Nigeria. And not long ago, we were threatened with genocide, mass drowning in the Atlantic Ocean, if we dare to express our constitutionally granted rights to vote according to our conscience. Every day, our investments and business in other lands are threatened, and we are either blackmailed or extorted to have freedom to do business in several parts of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, this situation cannot continue this way. Recently, we were told by the Sultan of Sokoto that our travels in Nigeria, including the organized hatred and genocide against our people, is because we are an industrious people. So, must we then turn Alaigbo to a nation of beggars and unemployed people? What of the truth told us by the Arewa youths? As if they were looking for an excuse to tell us first that we're the troublemakers in Nigeria and that the property that we owned belonged to them and that they had taken an inventory of all our assets, waiting for us to depart. Welcome, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, to this bold attempt to organize and galvanize Ndigbo to begin a deliberate effort to reverse this trend. We must stop following the least line of resistance, which seems to be the migration and immigration to Lagos, Abuja, Kano, London, Houston, Atlanta, etc. Let all Igbo businessmen and women, professionals, and all economic agents take deliberate steps to make an investment at home, no matter how small. An office, a warehouse, a depot, a branch, a farm, or a factory. We are pleased that the Alaigbo Development Foundation has begun the implementation of its strategies to help with the rebuilding and development of Alaigbo and the rebirth and advancement of the spirit of our culture and civilization. Ndigbo, at several fora, have generally agreed to proceed with taking responsibility for the rebuilding of Igbo land and to help restore it to a nation of happy and clean people, without unemployment, without drunkards, without prostitutes, and without beggars, as envisioned by Alaigbo way back in the 18th century. We are determined to assert ourselves and claim our rightful position. The ADF, consequent on its formation in 2014, after the International Colloquium on the Igbo question in Nigeria, elected to play significant roles to assist the ongoing efforts at different levels through intellectually driven courses and actions. That's where we differ from most. We do whatever we do based on research, intellectual work, and I think that's why we're able to feed Ohanese, feed other groups with this kind of work. Our desire to institute change in both the physical, spiritual, and psychological components of Alaigbo through a coherent strategy that is research-based, that builds on the great work already done and continues to be done by other individuals and groups that are committed to the new Igbo vision, starting with the prime Igbo organization, Ohanese Ndigbo, and including others like Aki Kenga, Ndigbo Lagos, World Igbo Congress, the World Igbo Summit, etc. Has been aptly described by our Honorary Secretary. To achieve our goals, the ADF is working through committees and task forces that work with other pan-Igbo organizations to start and restart the march to our destiny. Some of these committees have been mentioned: business development and investment promotions, promoting the Think Home, Invest Home strategy, Akurulo. This committee has since gone to work, and the Akurulo pathfinders the signal that were given to the first set of recipients in 2017 as part of the effort to push for a new wave of investment in Alaigbo in order to create jobs and alleviate poverty. The Business Development Investment Committee has also gone ahead to record recent developments that have been done by Igbo, especially those in the diaspora. We have a recorded documentary of all that is going on in many parts of the Igbo land, from Delta through rivers and to all the other 5 southeastern states. And today we are beginning to present these documents and this documentary to our businessmen in focal groups in Abuja, in Lagos, and in Kano, as to the fact that we do not want to wait till everything was right, till all the roads were built, the delight was stable. People are doing great things now, to our utter surprise. When we did a tour of Anambra State to look at the industrial sector, we were embarrassed to see what was going on in Onitsha. That some people put up a brewery. What they planned to sell in 2020, they had sold in 2016. And this plant broke even in 6 months. That's my first time, both in literature and in practice, to see a manufacturing firm break even in 6 months. And it's in Alaigbo. So what are we waiting for outside? What are we thinking that things are not right in our home. We're beginning to show this to our men, and I need to report to this conference, which is our 4th attempt, that we are beginning to see a reversal. It is not a matter of just talk. Action is happening. Investments are growing. The investment which Kostaris put up in Anambra State derived from this. And that's why it was one of those we put as pathfinders and many others who are not here today. And our job is to continue to push in this area so that we can measure our progress and report progress to encourage others that the days of we can't come because of kidnappers, we can't come because of this, that day, those days are gone. Many of these states are changing for the better. As been talked about, we have the Federal Career Committee that is aimed at pursuing fair representation of Igbo in the federal government, including ministries, agencies, and departments. With adequate data, we plan to engage the Nigerian government to ensure that Igbo are given their due positions in the Federation. Additionally, we promote and adopt other strategic moves to ensure that we position our manpower to compete favorably for top positions in the bureaucracy. We've spoken about the Census Committee, and their job is so critical so that Igbo are no longer changed in the forthcoming national census. We intend to ensure an unusual awakening of our people to the need to have every Igbo counted. Never again shall we allow our numbers to be downgraded by either our indifference or inability to be vigilant. Igbo language and culture is pursuing the preservation and resurgence of the Igbo language and culture. Already the committee has initiated work on the translation of some of Chinua Achebe's works into Central Igbo. The Constitution Review Committee has pursued and continued to coordinate the position on the abrogation and or amendment of the 1999 Constitution with a view to ensuring our interests are protected in the new Constitution. Right now, the committee has linked up with other groups within and outside Alaigbo to present our position on the need for a new Constitution and also the restructuring as a prelude to this. We have the Political Accountability Committee. This committee works with other non-governmental agencies to hold ourselves first and our political leaders accountable to our people. We intend to discourage all political behavior that is inimical to the rebuilding and development of Alaigbo. We also plan to raise support for all political office holders who are mistreated for working for the good of Igbo. Professor Awuzie is here. He knows the work we've done in Imo. Today, we showed that we can confront our own people. As he said, ask ourselves questions. It's not saying, without demeaning what we are seeing from Nigeria and the mistreatment. But internally, we also have to hold ourselves responsible. And for once, we confronted Imo government, and we are doing that in all states to make sure that we hold our people accountable for the money they collect and what they owe Igbo. We've talked about international and strategic committees. There are many other administrative committees that enable the smooth function of ADF. All of these organs are being charged with specific and measurable goals, which are in tandem with the overarching Igbo vision and the ADF mission. We have also determined that without sustainable funding, neither the committees nor ADF will achieve the ambitious goals. Hence, the decision to establish a trust fund that will help to energize the accomplishment of these lofty goals. To assure full accountability, the ADF has established, as our secretary mentioned, a management committee to manage the funds. And we believe this will inspire confidence and ensure sustainability so that the great work ahead of Igbo can proceed without the usual challenges of insufficient funding or depending on a single source or falling into the hands of those who wish to manipulate the organization for narrow and perhaps selfish interests. The committee, as we know, is chaired by Most Reverend Maxwell Anikwenwa, retired Archbishop of the province of the Niger. Other members include royalties like Igwe Agubusu, chairman of the Enugu Council of Traditional Rulers, and Igwe Raf Ekpe, Eze, Enugu Nanri, na Igwe of Umonri. Others are Dr. Dozie Kedife, President General of Ohanese Igbo, past, and Chairman of Board of ADF, Professor Uzodimma Nwala, President ADF, Honorable Mrs. Maria Okwo, President of Igbo Women Assembly, Elder Dr. Melazu, former head DG Man, Chief Innocent Nwanga, former Minister of Environment and former SSG Imo State, Professor Barton Naji, former Minister of Power and Chairman of Geometric Power, Mr. Frank Neji, Chairman of ABC Transport and ABGA gubernatorial candidate, and Mazi Sam Ohuapunwa, former Chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. It is an extreme pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to have this distinct crop of revered Igbo leaders accept this assignment to lead a change in financial accountability in Pan-Igbo organization. As earlier mentioned, we have had a unique opportunity to recognize some Igbo leaders who have blazed the trail in bringing wealth home at rural through making investment at home. During our search to determine those to receive this recognition last year, we were pleasantly surprised that a significant number of our people have already embraced this call to bring investments into Alaigbo. The recipients of the accrual of part finance insignia for last year were only some of those who deserve the honor. It has intention to make this an annual recognition event, and those who missed out last year because of limitations will be honored in subsequent years. Our hope is that this kind of recognition will spur many other Igbo leaders in all spheres of endeavor to take deliberate actions to bring investments into Alaigbo, industries, depots, branches, schools, hospitals, professional offices, etc. I am thoroughly excited that we have arrived at this point in our renewed effort to achieve Igbo Renaissance. For sure, it will take a lot of time, not 4 years, a lot of efforts, a lot of meetings, a lot of travels, a lot of negotiation, a lot of lobbying, and a lot of media work and advocacy. And will take a whole lot of money. That's why we will continue to call on all to support our efforts to raise funds that will enable us to help move the Igbo agenda and vision in or outside Nigeria as God will allow. Mr. Chairman, let me join the ADF leaders to welcome you and all the excellencies, your majesties, your highnesses, chiefs, Nzenozo, Ohaneze, to this epochal event. I believe that our God will reward all the sacrifice you have made and will make effort, that you have made and will make to support this initiative and others that will lead us to our manifest destiny. I believe that there is role for state governments to play, and that's why in this kind of occasion we are always embarrassed that we do not have them, because they need to create roles in helping to provide the enabling environment and making land easily accessible for people who want to put up businesses. What role should the traditional community leaders play in making the communities peaceful and safe for investment? We're happy that the community leaders are here, traditional rulers are here, and the Omo was the first to donate a piece of land for us where we plan to build an Igbo unity home someday in Okana. These are some of the, thank you. These are some of the issues that will continue to be discussed in these and other meetings and conferences of ADF. Our vision needs repeating. That is to restore Igbo nation to what it looked like in the 19th century, when Olaudah Ekwuano described it as a nation of happy, clean people, without unemployment, without prostitution, without drunkards, and without beggars. I don't know whether you can envisage the new Igbo heartland, Alaigbo, that looks like this. That's what we're looking at, and with your support, we shall get there. God bless you.
I want to present a book written by one of our historians. I asked him to document the institution of the Omu for the future, so that no one will matter in future. So I want to present a copy to the chairman of the occasion, and then a copy to the president of ADF. With that, I hope that in the whole of the Igbo land, the 5 states, we will start crowning their mothers so that women can play their parts. Thank you.
Well,
are receiving this on behalf of the 7 states of Alaigbo.
Last time. Thank you.
Ndegwu, ndewo, ya dịrịzie.